Hey everybody, it's Party Elite here with another episode of Total Breakdown. From the Warhammer Fantasy League, a link to which is in the description below, we have a pretty interesting battle today between Migza and Iron General as they face off as High Elves and Beastmen. We begin, of course, with talk of composition and deployment, and I think it's pretty clear to see that there's some interesting stuff going on the battlefield today. The High Elves are led by a Prince atop a Star Dragon, alongside a Mage of Life atop a Horse. The main line over here consists of 4 units of White Lines of Schrace, alongside these 2 units of Spearmen to the left and a unit of Spearmen to the right. Then up front we have the Illyrian Reaver Archers spread far across the front of the field, alongside the Tyrannoc Chariot as well, so a very highly mobile, ranged capable contingent with the High Elves, and you can see on the other side the Beastmen as well, widely spread apart. We do have Morgar the Shadowgave in charge, alongside a Brave Shaman of Death atop a Chariot. The front line consists of 4 units of Bestigor Herd and a unit of Ungor Spearmen Herd on either flank. Then on the far flanks we have a unit of Chaos Warhounds with Poison, Senegor and Senegor with Great Weapons to the left over here, and to the right 2 units of Senegor with Great Weapons alongside a Chaos Warhound with Poison unit. And these guys are very interesting contingents. They're quite capable as well as quite powerful, and let's see how this all breaks down as we kick it into full speed. You can see the Illyrian Reaver Archers are pushing rather aggressively towards this left situation over here, trying to get some damage done, get a little bit of early harassment, and of course the Chaos Warhounds with Poison are able to close the gaps to these Illyrian Reaver Archers, but as they pull back, I think the Beastmen are going to notice what's going on. They're being baited into a very dangerous situation, and ultimately they decide that rather than get engaged and fully surrounded by all of this range support as well that's pouring in, they should pull back into safety, and that's definitely a good call there. Very dangerous to get swarmed from multiple arrows from multiple directions, so they pull back into safety as this large contingent as well is pushing rather aggressively towards these Illyrian Reaver Archers, hoping to get some damage done and maybe remove them from the field right now, as they are all that the Beastmen can see. At this point, though, they decide to stay back. They don't want to give chase too far in here either, as the Ungor Spearmen Herd are off to the side over here. They might be able to cause a little bit of damage or a little bit of concern in terms of getting too close to these guys as they fall behind these Spearmen. And you can see as well, we've got the Bestigor Herd maybe pushing in towards these trees very slowly so that range support is reduced, because they can't really get as much work done if they're firing into a bunch of trees. And finally, all of these High Elf units have been revealed as they move up towards the hill over here, and all of these Chaos Warhounds and Senegor are able to push in from that flank, maybe get some rear charges. They are probably assessing the situation right now, but maybe deciding it better not to actually get engaged like that. Meanwhile, at the same time, you can see the Prince over here looking for an opportunity to dive in somewhere, using Foe Seeker to get that extra speed, I think, maybe cause a little bit of fear here and there in the mind of the opponent, not necessarily mechanically speaking, and hoping to maybe move these guys and maneuver these guys around the field. You can see the Illyrian Reaver Archers continue to fire away at the Senegor with Great Weapons, a pretty threatening unit over there, and the Beastmen have now taken cover of the trees, hiding themselves, making sure that the enemy isn't able to fire away from a safe distance. You know, might have to take some risks. The Star Dragon, I think, moving in and around to get a little bit of vision as well, so the Illyrian Reaver Archers and the Tyrannoc Chariot able to fire away, and slowly but surely you can see both sides have almost swapped their deployment here as the High Elves form up on these hills, and the Beastmen are slowly, creeping back towards this hill over here. At the same time, the Illyrian Reaver Archers as well as the Tyrannoc Chariot creeping forward ever so slowly, getting some shots off here and there. So we're going to switch flanks now and just look from this angle instead, keeping the High Elves on our close side. The Senegor with Great Weapons are taking a fair bit of damage as they peel back and keep their distance again. I think the Prince is there just for vision, just to see what's happening, keep an eye on the Beastmen enemy. And again, the Illyrian Reaver Archers just poking and prodding at a little bit of hurt here and there. The Senegor with Great Weapons have taken a fair bit of damage actually without getting any work done whatsoever. So we're going to kick it up a notch over here as these guys continue to position themselves. You can see the High Elves very confidently staying back here, keeping a hold of this hill as the Beastmen again pull back into safety, maybe hoping to drain the Illyrian Reaver Archers of some of their ammunition before pulling into engagements. It is quite dangerous to get frontline engagements happening. That'll allow the Illyrian Reaver Archers to come in from the backs and open shots off, and these units will all suffer some significant morale damage from multiple angles. And you can see again the Prince is still up in the air, I think trying to get some vision here, as the Illyrian Reaver Archers again just holding these guys at bay as they try to creep through the trees over here, get some work done. But of course there's a lot of range fire potential over there, and over here you can see a bit of a mistake actually, as the Fate of Buna is cast on the Prince, and the Fate of Buna is not the best spell to use a single entity unit. You want to use the Fate of Buna against something like the Illyrian Reaver Archers, get rid of that threat, and at the same time you can see the Star Dragon is actually using its breath to cause some damage to the Ungor Spearmen Herd over here. Might have been a better idea to focus in on some of these Bestigor Herd. Looks like the attempt was to get some damage done to both of these units, but trying to cause a little bit of damage as the Fate of Buna causes some hurt back to the Prince and his mount, but as I was saying, the Fate of Buna is much better used on units like the Illyrian Reaver Archers or even the White Lions of Trace. Any unit that has a higher entity count is the ideal target for the Fate of Buna. Spirit Leech is ideal for single entity units, and you can see the Illyrian Reaver Archers now have pushed into the trees over here, trying to get some damage and trying to force some aggression out of the Beastmen. These Chaos Warhounds with poison here, trying to do just that, maybe push in, scare these guys off, force them to pull back, though the Illyrian Reaver Archers are, of course, very threatening to these Chaos Warhounds. You can see, though, they have to do something. They can't just sit back and do nothing. The Beastmen just eating a lot of damage, though, but I think, again, just hoping to drain some of the ammunition here, so the Illyrian Reaver Archers are in a terrible situation. And you'll notice, since the beginning of this battle, the balance of power has very much been in favor of the Beastmen, and that's not about to change. The Beastmen have the superior forces. They will be able to overpower the main lines over here, and you can see the High Elves have actually split their deployment a little bit, using this obstacle over here to provide some blockage from any flanking maneuvers on either side from this center position. We have these 2 White Lines of Trace over here now, moving forward ever so slightly, while off to the side 2 White Lines of Trace, as well as 2 units of Spearmen, and of course that Mage of Life able to provide support through magic. And over here you can see the Chaos Warhounds being forced back by all of that range support. We're going to kick it up a notch again. As you can see, the Beastmen as well have positioned themselves on multiple hills. I do love these maps. They provide a lot of room for mobility and movement over the course of a battle, and you can see now the Illyrian Reaver Archers pulling back as the Beastmen are finally getting aggressive, needing to pull back into safety, firing away. Again, that Prince is up in the air, granting vision to all of these ranged units, so great call there. Nothing really threatening from the Beastmen. They don't have any anti-air, they don't have any range capabilities, and that's not the best idea against the High Elves, because they're likely to take a dragon in, bring some princes or a princess in atop a dragon, so not the best call there, unfortunately. And the Prince, again, you can see taking the central position, keeping vision to make sure nothing's going to come out of these trees and surprise the High Elves. And you can see now we've got these mobile contingents off to the side on either side, and again the Beastmen just looking for an opportunity to get aggressive once more. The Illyrian Reaver Archers are extremely fast. I think the only Beastmen unit that is faster than the Illyrian Reaver Archers are these Chaos Warhounds, but again, it's a very threatening situation for them to just dive into, and you can see again just pushing forward, getting some shots in, doing a little bit of damage, and then peeling back as these Chaos Warhounds creep closer. And of course this front line over here will provide some serious protection if the Chaos Warhounds get too close. Again, the Prince now just using Foe Seeker, maybe actually unnecessarily, trying to dive into the Chaos Warhounds there, thinking better of it, taking to the air as the Ungor Spearmen herd were very close. And you can see again just a bit of a stalemate here, pushing back and forth, all that range support coming in. The Chaos Warhounds again venturing forth, but then deciding to stay back as all of those arrows come through and cause a fair bit of damage. And that's exactly why the Chaos Warhounds cannot commit to an engagement against the Illyrian Reaver Archers. There's so much damage that could come through there in just one volley. These guys are very quick to turn around and give up on a fight under those circumstances. And again, these guys now are really low on ammo. All of these High Elf Illyrian Reaver Archers at about a quarter ammo right now. The Tyrannoc Chariot as well, low on ammo. The Chaos Warhounds once again venturing forth to again scare these guys back, just harass some of these Illyrian Reaver Archers and annoy the opponent, I think. Again, mind games are a big part on the battlefield, and you can see the Beastmen otherwise are standing steady, just using the sacrificial Chaos Warhound unit, dancing around the field, getting these guys to waste some ammo. You can see some good micromanagement here, actually, dodging all of these shots. So wonderfully done there. It might seem like time is being wasted and the Beastmen aren't pushing aggressively enough, and they aren't being aggressive enough, true, but what we are seeing is some great micromanagement from these Chaos Warhounds, just dodging all of those shots, forcing the High Elves to waste all of these arrows. Beautifully done there, taking a fair bit of damage, unfortunately, but still above 50% health. And now you can see once again the Beastmen maybe getting annoyed, forcing themselves to push through. You can see these Tyrannoc Chariots are basically at no ammo anymore. A lot of these Illyrian Reaver Archers as well, very, very low on ammo, and now in comes a lot of aggression. You can see off to the side over here, the Synagogue with great weapons alongside the Chaos Warhounds with poison, looking for an opportunity, but unfortunately the 2 Spearmen are over here, the 2 Spear units are over there, and over here as well, you can see these guys are just pushing forward, hoping to get some damage, and finally as the Tyrannoc Chariot pushes in as well, and gets a nice charge into the Bestigor herd over here. One last bit of gratuitous violence onto these Bestigor herd before they're able to get a charge into the Spearmen. And the Bestigor herd will take very quick care of the Spearmen, of course. Spears don't really stand a chance against the Bestigor herd, but it's a good idea to get that damage in there nice and early. And you can see off to the side over here as well, these guys are just looking for an opportunity to dive in as the Spearmen are getting cut down. And back here you can see we do have the aggression from these cavalry units as well, just looking for an opportunity to circumvent these Spearmen, of course, and then come in for some rear charges into the Illyrian Reaver Archers. A good rear charge or two, along with all the damage that these units can bring, overpowering can force these guys to surrender and rout right away. And as I said, the balance of power is in favor of the Beastmen. So wonderful thinking there. And over here you can see we've got this giant clump, wonderful cast over here, getting a fair bit of damage in, as well as the Tyrannoc Chariot has been bogged down. We also get the Prince diving in, and take a look at these guys just absolutely fall apart. Completely devastated. Great cast there, great work. And at the same time, we've got the front lines charging into each other, and you can see the Bestigor herd will do fairly well in all of these frontline engagements as they dive in against the White Lions of Schrace over here and off to the side over here as well. They're going to get a lot of work done, especially these units that haven't taken any damage from all of that range support. And at the back, you can see over here at the same time, the Senegor with great weapons have managed to circumvent the Spearmen over here, but the Spearmen very quick to respond. They are pulling back to try and provide some assistance, while over here in the central clump, we finally get some Chaos Spawn coming in from Morgur, of course, trying to provide some assistance. Great call there, and you can see the Prince has been bogged down, stuck in position there, and taking a fair bit of damage, while back here, these Illyrian Reaver Archers managed to bog down this rear charge from the Senegor with great weapons. So wonderful use of these Illyrian Reaver Archers in melee. If the Senegor with great weapons were able to push through for some rear charges onto these White Lines of Schrace, they'd be absolutely destroyed. Instead, we have these beautiful interceptions going in from the Illyrian Reaver Archers, allowing the Spearmen to then chase in afterwards and completely devastate the Senegor with great weapons. Beautifully done over there. Well, over here in the center, you can see we actually have the Illyrian Reaver Archers pushing in for some melee of their own, charging into the Bestigor herd, forcing them back as they were devastating the Spearmen in the center. At the same time, we get Earthblood as well, trying to keep the center alive as the White Lions of Schrace are giving up in the center, and the Bestigor herd are able to push through. And you can see over here as well, the Prince is very low on morale, very low on health as well, already at half health. The Bray Shaman of Death has been terrified, but of course, that's not the end of the world. The Bray Shaman will just be able to make some distance and then get back into the fight. But you can see the Senegor over here, the Senegor with great weapons, 2 Chaos Spawn in here. I think the Tyrannoc Chariot was replaced by a Chaos Spawn unit thanks to Morgur's capabilities, and that Prince is just in a terrible situation, using Foe Seeker to bring up speed, keep vigor up, and hopefully get out of this tight spot. And at the same time, you can see back here, the Senegor with great weapons have been taken care of rather wonderfully. Wonderful work there, bringing those Spearmen in there, and these guys have completely given up on the fight. Very low on health and morale. One unit routing, the other unit very close to routing as well, while up front over here, you can see we had these Chaos Warhounds with poison managing a rear charge as the Ungor Spearmen herd push in as well, and you can see these White Lions of Schrace are just not having a good time. On the left flank over here, though, the Ungor Spearmen herd, of course, not going to have a good time against the White Lions of Schrace. They are overpowering the Ungor Spearmen herd, but they have to push in and provide some assistance against the Bestigor herd over here, while over here the Illyrian Reaver Archers have to push in and get involved, trying to bait some aggression over here, allowing the Prince to escape. But you can see overall the High Elves are not doing that well as that Earthblood goes down, just trying to keep these guys alive. The Prince particularly needs to be kept alive. As you can see over here as well, we have the Illyrian Reaver Archers falling apart to the Bestigor herd, who are managing to destroy the Spearmen as well. The left flank is going well for the High Elves, but the center and the right are just completely falling apart. But in the rear, of course, the Senegor with great weapons had been taken care of, and so now these spears are able to join in on the frontline engagements. And you can see over here, the Chaos Warhounds with poison are sitting there, looking pretty, not doing anything. They need to be pushed in. They need to be a lot more aggressive. They have to go chasing after some of these White Lions of Schrace, get a nice rear charge over there, or maybe shut down these Illyrian Reaver Archers with a nice rear charge. We have the Bray Shaman of Death over there as well, not doing anything. Atop a chariot, needs to get charges into enemy infantry, needs to push in towards these spears, get a nice rear charge or a charge from the side, get some work done, or use some magic as well. Again, the Fate of Buna will do a lot of work, as it was doing earlier against some White Lions of Schrace, but you can see the Illyrian Reaver Archers now pushing in and shutting that magical support down once and for all, hoping to remove the Bray Shaman of Death from the field. Over here, you can see we do have that Prince in a very precarious situation still, very low on health, maybe about a quarter of health left, but in comes another Earthblood, of course, upgraded this time, trying to keep that Prince alive, and he takes to the air, stays safe. Wonderfully done. And you can see over here, the Ungor Spearmen herd are being matched by the Spearmen, but the Bestigor herd are going to have a good time against the Elven Spearmen. Despite being outnumbered, they will cause a fair bit of damage. And over here as well, you can see the Bestigor herd are about to be charged by these Spearmen. They are, you know, at half health, so they're in a bit of a tough spot, but the Spearmen aren't going to have the best of times. Over here, you can see Morgur finally taking a significant amount of damage, fully surrounded, falling apart now, and the Beastmen now are losing their melee engagements across the board. They're going to start losing morale as Morgur has given up on the fight, and these Senegor are sort of the last attempt at taking down the Prince, but of course not having a good time there. They are wavering. Their morale is extremely low. The Bray Shaman has been taken care of as well. The Illyrian Reaver Archers have taken care of these Chaos Warhounds as well, and Morgur has completely shattered for a Pyrrhic victory for the High Elves. Now, the Beastmen had the upper hand from a numerical perspective, and their front line would devastate the High Elf front line with proper support. But the highly mobile ranged contingent that the High Elves brought to the field kept the Beastmen on their hooves, causing widespread damage before lines met. There really was no opportunity to shut down any airborne units with ranged from the Beastmen, and the Elves did an excellent job of shutting down flanking maneuvers as well, guaranteeing victory despite their terrible starting situation as they pulled off rear charges of their own. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more Total War content and keep sending in those battle replays. I think it's one of the best ways to learn, and it's always nice to highlight amazing battles from the community. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the battlefield.